Faye Tenenbaum, and I am here in Southern California, unable to participate live in the conference. So I'm making this recording here for you. And I'm going to start just by sharing my screen. Okay. Hi. It's Laura again. So I realize that I'm not there live, but I did put my Twitter handle down at the bottom. It's at Laura Faye 10. And if you have any questions or comments, then you can tweet them to me over the next couple of days, and I'll do my best to answer your questions and comments. And I do hope that you're enjoying the conference so far, and I hope that I enjoy making this video for you, and we'll be there together in spirit, if not in person. So I'll just tell you about myself for a little bit. I worked at NASA for a decade, which I believe is why you wanted me to present at this conference. And my area of expertise is in climate and earth science. And here I am. I did a couple of suborbital missions to Greenland to study how quickly the ice sheet is melting. Right now, I am in Southern California. I'm in the Los Angeles area. So today, sitting here in LA, we're having a bunch of heat waves. It's supposed to be, again, very high temperatures for the next few days. And I'll just share with you that this is a little bit of what California looks like right now. So not all of it is on fire, but much as the state is on fire. So we're staying inside and laying low. So just wanted to share with you a little bit about me and what's going on like in my area and in my life. So what we're going to talk about today, first of all, I'm going to just discuss some of the causes and impacts of climate change. And then we're going to go into what can we do about it, okay? So as you might know, carbon dioxide is the most important heat trapping gas that is responsible for climate change, and humans are the ones that produce this carbon dioxide. And you'll notice that I have a mouse, good. So these are just the last 5 years of carbon dioxide in Earth's atmosphere. And you can see that, scientists would prefer if it not be over 400 parts per million in Earth's atmosphere, but you can see that it's well over 400 parts per million, and that every year it's increasing. And even though in this year of 2020, when there's been way less burning of the fossil fuels because of the coronavirus, you still see in the first half of the year this increase in carbon dioxide. And part of the reason it hasn't just gotten out of the atmosphere very quickly is because carbon dioxide tends to stay in Earth's atmosphere for a very long time, on the order of thousands of years. And so it doesn't just kind of leave even if we stop burning fossil fuels, which means the sooner we stop releasing carbon dioxide into Earth's atmosphere, the better. Then you can also see just, this is the long-term record starting back 800,000 years ago. And sometimes people, I hear, they say stuff like, oh, well, carbon dioxide, the climate has changed. And you can see that yes, indeed, it did go up and down over the last 800,000 years, but the difference between, let's say, climate variability and climate change is that right now, in the last 100 years since the Industrial Revolution, the carbon dioxide that's been released into the atmosphere is much higher than it has been over the last 800,000 years. And on top of that, the increase is going very, very rapid. So it's not this slow evolution or slow change, it's a rapid increase. And that's what we call climate change, this release of carbon dioxide into Earth's atmosphere. The other thing I want you to notice is that, so this is the top 10 hottest years on record globally, top 10 hottest years of all time. So you can see that they've all been almost in the last 10 years. And we don't have the 2020 record yet because the 2020 isn't over, but you can see that the last 5, right? 18, 17, 15, 19, and 16. Those were the last 5 years, were the top 5 hottest years of all time. There's another way to look at this same data, right? So this is hottest years on record globally to date. So you can see here's 2015, I think that's 2019. And again, 2020, halfway through the year, we're racking up to be, again, one of the top hottest years on record. And I'll just add a little bit about this. It's not just that we have these increased heat waves and increased summertime, daytime hottest temperatures. Also globally, what this means is that we're having warmer wintertime temperatures on average over the planet and warmer nighttime temperatures on average over the planet as well. So in general, we're seeing warmer temperatures and less cooling. And here's a map of the whole planet. Again, this is 2019 because 2020 isn't over yet. But not everywhere on planet Earth is equally heating. And I want to just take a couple of seconds to show you different parts of this map here. One thing you'll notice is this is record setting, is the darkest red, and cooler and record coolest is the blue color. And I just want you to notice that there's very, very few areas on planet Earth that are seeing cooler temperatures, whereas most of the planet is seeing somewhere between much warmer, record warming, and warmer. And just right where you are in Africa is in this one of the hottest places on planet Earth, or one of the places that's seen the most intense warming, record warming on planet Earth. So when you add carbon dioxide to Earth's atmosphere, it traps heat, you get warming. Again, warming isn't equal everywhere, but all across planet Earth, you're seeing much more warming than you are cooling. And in many areas of the Earth, like places where you are, we're seeing record global ocean temperature and land temperatures. So one of the effects that happens when you heat the atmosphere and you heat the ocean is you have sea ice melting. And again, this is just the latest data. We've had the sea ice minimum comes out in September, so it just came out last month. And again, record high, a record low amount of sea ice. So that means the sea ice is melting. And in addition to having low sea ice, you also have loss of the ice sheets, like on Greenland where I was. So this is a photo that I took out of the NASA airplane, and you can see up here is the Greenland ice sheet, right where my mouse is. And then this is a glacier, and the ice sheet kind of moves down this glacier like a giant river about a mile across, and then empties out in the ocean. Those are little icebergs there in the ocean. And this is frozen seawater at the top. It freezes every winter and then melts in the summer. And eventually these icebergs melt in the ocean and go out to sea, and they cause sea level all around planet Earth. They cause sea level rise. So yes, a lot of people there are like, well, why should I care about Greenland? Why should I care about ice melting in Greenland? Well, everyone who lives on a coast or everyone who uses coastal infrastructure, it depends on, on all these like shipping and, people living along the coast. In fact, about a quarter of Earth's population is people living within 100 miles of the coast. So these icebergs here that are melting are literally affecting everybody globally. And here's a photo that I took. I was up at the ice sheet. This is Russell Glacier, and you can see like this is 100,000-year-old ice that accumulated again over the last 100,000 years. It falls, it gets compressed, but what's happening now is that instead of accumulating, this ice is melting. This is the terminal end of the glacier, and you can see big chunks of ice have fallen down, and here's a river. And literally, if I was standing there, when I looked to my left, it's like this 100,000-year-old ice sheet. Right in front of me is the ice collapsing and the river rushing down. And if I turned to my right, I could see down the fjord the river of this melted ice running off into the ocean and causing the future, which is global sea level rise all around the world. And here you have just a chart showing you, this is a NASA satellite observation of sea level. And you can see that since the satellite launched in the 90s, sea level has just been going up more and more increasingly. So I just put this here to take a moment. I don't know if you can hear noises in the background, but I realize that my neighbors are trimming trees. So if you look at me looking sideways, there's stuff falling out of the trees, and this is the beauty of Zoom. I thought a cat was going to photobomb our session, but it turned out to be trees and tree trimming. So when you have a lot of fires in the summer and a lot of scorching of the top of the trees, that's what happens, is you need to trim your trees apparently on Sunday during a presentation. But I put this sea slug here because I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with the enormity of climate change, and it tends to kind of make everybody freak out. And we have to pull back and just remember what it is that we're fighting for and how much we love the planet. And for me, the sea slug represents what I'm fighting for, to save planet Earth, or to save other species on planet Earth. And they make me happy and they bring me joy. So now we're kind of moving into the part of the talk where we're going to talk about what can we do about climate change. So the first thing that I say that you can do about climate change, again, is refresh yourself. This is a long, challenging struggle. Just this September, in fact, last month, globally, we broke records. It was the hottest September ever recorded. So whatever struggles you're having in your life, right? So right now I'm struggling with this video with my neighbors making a lot of noise. That's just one of the many struggles during the pandemic. We can't see each other. There's heat waves, there's challenges. So you have to remember to pull back. For me, refreshing myself means going into nature and appreciate the beauty of nature. Okay, so that's one thing we can do. Another thing that we can do is do as much as we can individually to lower our own carbon footprint. But those are kind of two things that I've talked about a lot and I've written about a lot. But I think the thing that I'd like to focus on right now, the most important thing, is we could get together as groups, because globally that's how we're going to move forward, right? So, you know, I always say this, like, people think that climate change is this horrible problem, right? That we have to, it's like a burden that we have to face and it's a struggle. But we can also think about it as this amazing challenge to get inspired about. So yes, I think that, look, there's hundreds of challenges. I just mentioned a few of them. But like, how do we push through those challenges? How do we learn something? How do we grow? So the first thing that we can do is think about, what's my attitude about this? And how am I going to fortify myself so that I can keep going to, I almost want to say, enjoy the fight or enjoy the struggle, or suck the juice out of the struggle so that it makes me a stronger person. It's almost like when you go to the gym and you lift a heavy weight, right? Your arm muscle might hurt a little bit, but ultimately it's healing for you and it's strengthening. And I like to, oh my gosh, there's trees falling down outside as I'm speaking. Okay, so more specifically, how can we, in this conference is about railway, so when you think about what is emitting the greenhouse gases, and you see that transportation, again, this is globally, is about 14% of global emissions, global carbon emissions. So if you think of that 14%, there's a lot we can do to modify our transportation infrastructure to make a world of difference. Now, where I live in Southern California, I work for the Burbank Sustainability Commission, and I work with our water and power. And I know that in my neighborhood, it's up to 40% of the emissions are because of commuters. So there's a lot of businesses, Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, and NBC are all in the city where I live. So those are a lot of big companies, and so commuters come into the city. So, you know, our city is tracking that. So if we can change commuter habits, we can make a huge difference in the greenhouse gas output of our local region. And that's true in small cities, it's true in major metropolitan areas, it's true in countries, and it's true across continents, right? So you have this huge opportunity to get together, not just, yes, we're all doing our individual lowering our carbon footprint, but when large cities, states, countries, and even continents, and even globally get together to, you know, have this exciting new infrastructure, not something that's a burden, but an excitement, then we can really make a difference. And I really like this graphic. Sometimes we think about the train, we think about this old-fashioned train that's dirty compared to this. It's not that climate change is something that we have to give up. Climate change is something exciting where we get to envision a new future for what we really want. So what we really want is an electrified transport system, and there's even a hydrogen-powered railway that are being invented. So this is like new, clean, beautiful, exciting places that people would want to be. I certainly would, you know, if I had the choice of being on an airplane or being on a train that looked like the one on the right, like I would hands down, hands up, like it just seems more comfortable, safer. Um, Even in this coronavirus time, you could easily get 6 feet apart from people. You know, much more convenient. So instead of being negative or sad or disappointed about climate change, I actually look forward to the challenge in the same way that I look forward to lifting a weight. It's like, how can I grow? How can I envision the future that I want? And not just me, all of us are doing that together. So that's why I put this picture of planet Earth, because it is global climate change. We may feel like we're in separate countries. I mean, certainly if I think most of the world politics is aware of what's happening in America and the challenges we're having here. So it's not just this one administration, it's not just this one country, it's all of us coming together to make big changes, you know, for the future. And again, I think I put my my Twitter handle up here again. That's my website and my Twitter handle. I'm really happy that I had the chance to make this video for you. I hope you have a fantastic conference. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to tweet them at me and I will do my best to respond. So thank you very, very much. And I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen for a second so you can see me. All right, thank you everyone. Have a fantastic conference. And I hope that someday this coronavirus will be over and we will be able to see each other in person.